Hello, everybody, and welcome back to reviewing every single WrestleMania main event in history. Today, we are on episode 20, reviewing WrestleMania XX, also known as 20, where we saw a triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship featuring Shawn Michaels take on Triple H and Chris Benoit. This is going to be a bit of a difficult match to talk about, so I would like to preface this with how I'm going to refer to Chris. So, Chris, obviously, a lot of controversy about him. If you know what I'm talking about, you do. If you don't, just look up Chris Benoit's Wikipedia page and scroll to about the middle way. You'll find it eventually. So I'm going to refer to him, and I'm going to say that he does good spots in this match, if he does, right? And if he does something good, I'm going to compliment it. However, after the match, I'm not going to, say great job to him. His work in wrestling, awesome. I don't give a damn what his work in wrestling was. So, as a historical look back, I will look back at this. But with all that being said, I have seen this match before. It's the first one that I've seen before watching it here. However, it was a while ago, so my memory on it is a little bit foggy. I'm going to get to that, and I will be giving you my very raw reactions, because I am foggy on it, after I've seen. Hey everybody, just got finished watching the match, and this match, I will say, is probably going to make its way onto the top 5 slot, most likely at the number 4 position, as the new list in order is X7, 14, 19, 20, 2000. If you want to see the previous list, obviously go back and watch some of my previous content. So there are a couple of pre-match notes here. Shawn enters first to an okay pop. Chris is after that to another, about the same level of pop, and Trips, as the defending champion, is last to a slightly louder pop. Like, Shawn is this. Oh. Chris is about the same, but Trips is, oh, like a little bit louder for him. But no real difference, as the crowd seems very a third for each guy. But immediately into the match, that completely changes as Let's Go Benoit chants start immediately and continue throughout the entire match. So I think I have a good idea of who they're behind. Shawn Michaels. So the match begins, and both Shawn and Chris try to target Triple H. Like, Shawn will run at Trips. Boom, boom, boom. Chris runs in, throws Shawn out, keeps attacking Triple H. Shawn runs back in, throws Chris off of him, keeps punching Triple H, and both men really want to beat up Triple H in this match, which does make sense because Triple H is a rude man at this point in his career. So Shawn throws Trips out of the ring, and Chris and Shawn start doing some technical wrestling like we saw at WrestleMania 19 between Brock and Angle. So, they're on the mat, they're doing little holds, double leg takedowns, and they're doing a very technical match as both men are good at that. They do a bridging kick out. Happens sometimes where, also, by the way, since obviously I don't have a figure of him, Benoit will be represented by Batista because he looked the most like Benoit that I had. So there's a couple of kickouts where it's like a bridge kickout where one guy's covering and then they bridge out of it like this. So that's kind of cool, I guess. Nothing that notable at the beginning. And they just technical wrestle for a couple of minutes. Nothing that notable. Triple H re-enters after a few minutes after both men have beat each other up and takes control of both of them. Trips throws Chris into Shawn, who then throws Chris out of the ring. So Trips has Chris. Shawn's over here. He throws Chris into Shawn, who continues by throwing him outside of the ring. This way, Shawn and Triple H can have some of that DX fighting, and they battle inside of the ring. So they keep fighting for a couple of minutes, but Ben was able to slide back in and break it up. This way, Shawn is down for a moment, so Trips is able to go to the outside and fight with Benoit. So Trips is fighting Benoit off near the ramp area, and they're brawling, and they're kind of standing next to each other dazed, and Michaels climbs to the top rope, does always his little moonsault, lands on both men, and everybody's down. Shawn picks Triple H to beat up inside the ring, throws him in, and starts kicking him while he's down. So Benoit re-enters after a few moments, slides in, and while Triple H is down in the corner, attacks Shawn. He throws Shawn straight into the post, and it's not like leaping over the corner. He does that a little bit later. But it's one of those, basically you're spearing the post between the top and middle ropes. If you're the corner, it's, and then Shawn gets dazed for a moment and stuns himself in that corner. So Benoit takes control of both men. However, Triple H is able to take control by doing a big kick right to Benoit's stomach and puts Benoit in one corner. Shawn is in the opposite corner, so Triple H just throws Shawn into Benoit. Now Benoit's not just dazed in the corner; he's gotten stuck there. He's got his feet tied up in the top rope. So Shawn just goes straight at him and hits a very dazed, immobile Benoit. So Triple H at this point, he's dominating both men. But Shawn and Trips are the first to their feet. Benoit has been beat up quite a bit in this match. I've kind of glossed over it a little bit. However, while Shawn and Triple H are kind of doing a stare-off in the middle of the ring, it's not a stare-off that you see at the beginning of the match, but it's more of a kind of stare off. However, Shawn is not really looking at Benoit, who leaps up and clotheslines him outside of the ring. This way, Benoit and Triple H can fight. This is following a pretty stereotypical triple threat match stereotype at this point, where they have the three people and they engage with each other every once in a while. Each member dominates both men for a little bit, and then they have all the possible little fight options. Benoit and Trips, Benoit and Shawn, Shawn and Trips, and they all alternate fighting one another for quite a while. However, it gets a little bit more chaotic a little bit later. So Benoit actually dominates the defending champion Triple H inside the ring and goes for the headbutt, which is one of his signature moves. So he gets up to the top rope while Trips is down, but Shawn's able to run in and drop him so he lands on his balls. So he is not going to be having a very good time up there and stays there for quite a while. So Trips is kind of stumbling to his feet, and Shawn goes for Sweet Chin Music. But I think Triple H just moves out of the way and then is able to DDT Shawn straight onto the mat. This way, Triple H, Shawn, and Benoit are all kind of dazed for the moment, and they can get a little bit of rest in while they're planning the next spot. So Chris and Trips both begin fighting while Shawn is down inside the ring, and Trips dominates this part of their brawl. So Benoit is about to get pedigreed by Triple H, but is able to reverse it into a very quick crippler crossface, which was his finisher, if you're unaware. It looks a little something like this. So he's got that in, but Shawn very quickly is able to break it up and make sure that Triple H does not tap out yet. That's a little bit of a hint for what happens a little later on into this match. So now Chris is annoyed. Oh, he broke up the pin. I had a chance to win. And they start brawling. And Chris is able to get Shawn down inside the ring and deliver that headbutt that he was trying to do on Trips earlier. This way, both men are able to be kind of down for the moment. However, Chris picks him up for whatever reason, but Shawn is able to throw him outside of the ring. This way, he can beat up Triple H, who's still in the ring and has just been beat up by both a headbutt, or an attempted headbutt, and a crippler crossface, so he's not doing too great. He goes for Sweet Chin Music and actually lands the move after tuning up the band for a moment. However, Shawn is not able to get the three because Benoit pulls Triple H outside the ring. So Shawn's got the cover in. 1, 2, but he's kind of by the ropes. So Benoit runs to that side and just yoinks Triple H out from under him. This way, Shawn does not get the win there, even though it would have definitely gotten him the 1, 2, and 3. So now Benoit is, ha ha ha, I just stopped you. And Shawn is like, grrr. So he goes out, he starts fighting Benoit in anger. So Shawn starts bleeding at this point. It was a little earlier on that he had gotten Alabama slammed into the corner like this, as I had mentioned. Not the spear, but the flip over onto his head. But this was a pretty painful move, and Shawn bleeds heavy throughout the rest of this. It's pretty brutal looking. Not as bad as the Eddie Guerrero one, but it's honestly pretty close. So Benoit locks in the crippler crossface once both men are back inside the ring. Again, same move. But this time, while Shawn's about to tap out, Triple H is able to stop his hand from hitting the floor by just reaching his hand in, no, and grabbing the arm. Benoit's annoyed, gets up out of the hold, and starts to fight him. So Shawn and Triple H are down at the moment because Benoit's been dominating both of them. However, Benoit rolls to the outside, and while he's talking to the crowd for a moment, Trips is able to come back and they start fighting. So Triple H is getting ready for a pedigree on top of the table. He's got Benoit set up. It's Benoit that he's trying pedigree. And they're set up like this. Shawn comes in, sees this going on because Benoit's about to counter him. Benoit's about to make him, do some other move. But he and Triple H silently agree, let's just superplex him. And superplex him all the way to the other announce table so they can fight inside the ring. They fight for a while, and Shawn is beat up really bad. But Trips is able to abuse this by targeting the head mostly. And during their fight, Chris is finally able to slide back in and break up a fall near the very end after a pedigree. And he's got the three, but Chris, I mean, barely gets there. Like if you're the cover, one, two, oh, it's that close. So now, again, it's the breakup pin. You fight with that person. So Shawn, dazed, rolls outside the ring. This way, Triple H and Chris can fight inside. So Chris locks in a very deep sharpshooter, and it's very deep. Like Chris is doing a full like squat while he's doing this. It looks incredibly painful, and Triple H is very good at selling this. And Trips is about to tap, like he's done at this point. The hold's locked in, but Shawn's able to come back in, deliver a great sweet chin music to the side of Benoit's head, and knock him off the submission. So while Chris is dazed, getting back to his feet, Shawn starts to tune up the band once more in the corner and waits for Chris to arise. Chris does and is standing right by the ropes. As Shawn goes for sweet chin music, Chris ducks and tosses him out over the ropes. So Shawn is out for the rest of this match. That's the last we see of him. So Triple H is able to get up during this time while Chris is looking over at Shawn and turn Benoit around to look for a pedigree. But Benoit is able to break the lock of Triple H's arms, drop him down into a crippler crossface. This is the ending sequence of the match. You probably might know it at this point. But Benoit's got the crossface in, fully cinched in, but Trips is like right next to the rope. If you're the rope, he's here. He's so close to the rope, but he just can't pull himself all the way to it. So he tries to roll to get into a pinning predicament, but Benoit keeps the roll going, locks it in further away from the ropes, so Triple H has no choice but to tap out, and Benoit wins the World Heavyweight Championship. And as he's celebrating, Eddie Guerrero, his friend from the Radicals, comes on out after having defended or won, I don't actually remember, the WWE Championship against or from Kurt Angle earlier in the night. This match, as a conclusion, it's a great match between three great performers. I need to specifically say performers, and two great men. So, what do I think? I think this match definitely deserves a B plus, potentially an A minus. It's very technical. There's a lot of big spots mixed in with the technical work, and as you can see, wrestling has gotten a lot better over the course of these 20 years. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Well, really, leave it down in the comments below. Nonetheless, make sure you have a good day, good evening, good night, good morning, good dawn, good dusk, good whatever. Check out any former or future episodes of this series, and goodbye.